Now I know some of you might debate this inclusion on my list as it is not technically a new game, but it did come out this year, and let's face facts, it's my list. Atelier Rorona Plus is one of the finest JRPGs that I played this year, and as someone who had problems even starting the original because of all the time management stress, I found all the additions here and the changes welcome, and I had a hell of a good time with it. Alright, when they first announced Persona Q, I will admit I was a bit hesitant. As someone who hasn't played the Etrian Odyssey games, I wasn't really sure how they were going to mash up that with the Persona franchise. Thankfully, the folks over at Atlus are incredibly talented, and this game is outstanding. The only reason it isn't higher on my list is I've only played about 10 hours. And the best part is, if you like this game, if you love this game, there are plenty of Etrian Odyssey games already on the market. Trials, Trials, Trials. You should have been number one, Trials. One of my all-time favorite game series, and Ubisoft gone, and Ubisoft did it, for lack of a better term. The Season Pass DLC is lackluster. The multiplayer, as of this recording, is still not out yet. What the... And the FMX trick system kind of tainted the main game. However, the core gameplay, the core Trials experience remains intact. It is still fun. They still make good tracks. That stuff is still great. Just everything around it kind of half-baked. So one can only hope that Red Lynx knocks it out of the park next time. This time, not so much. Earth Defense Force 2025 is a big, dumb, fun game. Turn off your brain, get your rocket launcher, and go after hordes of insects, spiders, robots, dragons, etc. Some of the new enemies were kind of hit or miss, but the core gameplay is still incredibly fun, and it is something you should definitely check out. Even though I had not played much of the Layton games in the past, Professor Layton vs. Ace Attorney is a fantastic mashup of two great franchises. Great dialogue, great puzzles, and that free DLC is some of the best stuff I've played all year. Do you want to play a 13-hour episode of South Park? Of course you do. And thankfully, Matt and Trey went and got one of the best RPG studios in the business, Obsidian, to make it happen. This is essentially the ultimate South Park game, and anyone who is even briefly a fan of the show should go check it out. I feel like you kind of have to temper your expectations going into The Evil Within. Because if you expect the Shinji Mikami to once again reinvent the wheel on survival horror, that just wasn't going to happen. But if you wanted an awesome sequel to Resident Evil 4, that is exactly what you got. It is one of the most tense roller coaster rides I was on all year. Whether or not you enjoy Captain Toad really hinges on whether or not you enjoyed those stages back in Super Mario 3D World last year. Now if you want more of that, there's plenty more of that. But if you didn't like those, you're probably not going to like this. That being said, it is one of the finest and most charming puzzle games I played all year and comes highly, highly recommended. I'll say this right off the bat. Dark Souls 2 is not as good as Dark Souls 1. However, that's a pretty high bar to reach. So even with the B team working on this game, even with the lighting downgrades, all the complaints, all the nonsense, the framework of the Souls series is still in here, and that still makes for one of the finest games I've played this year. And I'm sure next year, when the definitive version is out on the PS4, I'll buy it again and play it again. It's just that good. I know, there are two games in that top spot. It kind of looks like I'm cheating. But to be fair, in Japan, they came out on the same cart. In the US, they got split up. But Danganronpa is my number one game this year for physical releases. It is an absolutely wild and crazy ride from start to finish, and if you own a Vita, you absolutely owe it to yourself to go check it out.